prepared to be engaged in a war there involving some of the actors that you mentioned? Jordan, Hezbollah, Iran.
Well, I'm worried about
Egypt, Turkey.
I'm worried about the American soldiers who are already on the ground over there. You've got 1,000 in Syria. You got probably as many in Iraq. And on top of that, you have all these American bases in Turkey. And we actually have nuclear weapons stored in Turkey. And this is something that came up in the last months of the Trump administration. And I made an argument for their removal to get them out of there as soon as possible, because we didn't know what the future held. And Mr. Erdogan is like no one else who's ruled in Turkey, certainly since the fall of the Ottoman Empire. But what do we do about our bases? Incirlik is one. There are others. We've got aircraft. We've got soldiers, airmen, sailors on the ground over there. Do they become hostages? Do the Turks take these bases over? Do they surround them? What do they do? Then you've got a much larger problem than the problem you have with hostages right now inside of Gaza. There are no upsides right now to this whole business, frankly, for the United States. We'll just be dragged into something, and then we have to react. And I don't think we're prepared for that.
Do we have special forces on the ground in Gaza, and have any of them been casualties?
Well, I'm told that we do have special ops forces, and I don't think that's a surprise. We had an unfortunate photograph of American special ops soldiers being fêted and celebrated in Israel, and eventually that particular photo was removed, and we managed to obscure their faces. But sure, they're there. How many? I've heard various estimates. Do we have some American casualties already? Well, we know that some of our special ops soldiers and Israeli soldiers from their presumably special ops made a joint reconnaissance into Gaza, and they ran into some very heavy fire. A lot of people were wounded. At least one person was killed. But this is the sort of thing we don't talk about. And that's one of the reasons that when you deal with special operations forces, you don't bring it up. Because if something goes wrong, you don't want anybody to know about it. If something goes right, frankly, you don't want anybody to know about it. But yes, they're there, and they're absolutely involved.
Would this have been an order only from the President of the United States that American boots be on the ground in Gaza?
Oh, yes. I mean, the president is obviously aware, and he gave permission to do this. And I'm sure that Special Operations Command was just extremely excited about the prospect of doing this. For them, this is sort of a dream opportunity. Obviously, I don't see it that way, but I'm sure that's the attitude in the Special Operations Command.